We're approaching the July 2011 point at which the president will announce whether we have a significant or modest withdrawal from Afghanistan. I wonder if this bolsters the case for a significant withdrawal.
Absolutely. As Jim, my partner, said, President Obama, given his nature, I'm sure he's probably not going to do it, but he's entitled to call President Bush and see if he can borrow the mission accomplished banner because he was able to do it. And that doesn't end everything. But remember, that's why we went into Afghanistan. I voted for the war in Afghanistan, and I hate to vote for wars. The worst part of my job is to go to the funeral of somebody who was killed when I'm much older than his parents. It's a terrible thing for people to lose a 19, 20, 24-year-old family member. But we went there because Osama bin Laden had been using Afghanistan as a base from which to murder people in the thousands. And we asked the Taliban government, with which we were coexisting before that, would you please give him up? The Bush administration, when they took office, had no intention, that they told us, of overthrowing the Taliban government. They thought it was tolerable. It was not a place I would have wanted to live, or where they would have let me live, but it was not a direct American need. We went there to get Osama bin Laden. And we have now gotten Osama bin Laden. Yeah, there are still some al-Qaeda people there. My own view was this. People say, well, we've got to shut down Afghanistan because it's a base for al-Qaeda. But the fact is, we just saw they're in Pakistan. And sadly, because of a lack of cooperation with the Pakistanis, no matter what we do in Afghanistan, we can't eradicate them from Pakistan. I wish we could. And if we don't do it there, then they'll be in Yemen, they'll be in the Sudan, they'll be in Somalia. There are too many places in the world for us to kind of seal. So yes, I think this does strengthen the case. And people say, well, America can't look like it was driven out with the mission not accomplished. Well, we went there to get Osama bin Laden. And we have now, thanks to great skill, some luck obviously, but great skill on the part of the people who run national security policy, done exactly that.
Final question. Osama bin Laden, before his death, famously described his strategy as bleed until bankruptcy. He wanted to bleed America until bankruptcy. I think given your event today, thinking about recalibrating our financial investments in this nation, I wonder how you reflect on it.
Well, I didn't know that he'd said that. He was, as I said, well, thoroughly evil, unfortunately good at some parts of it. That's unfortunately the direction we have been moving towards. You know, it's particularly ironic because one of the things that conservatives say, and give Ronald Reagan credit for, is that he bled the Soviet Union into bankruptcy by Star Wars, etc. Their argument is by what we were doing, spending so much on our military, we forced them into an economically untenable situation. Well, we're now in an economically untenable situation. And yeah, that is one piece of insight. You know, even the most vicious killer can still understand something. I think that's right. And I think this shows now that at the very least, it leaves the case as strong as it was before full withdrawal, and I think it enhances it. Again, remember, George Bush was president, Dick Cheney was vice president. Our official policy was we could get along with the Taliban. It was only after Osama bin Laden murdered people, and even then, Afghanistan was the second priority for the Bush administration. Maybe that's what the president meant. Iraq was the first, as part of their grand geostrategy for showing that America could bring order to the world, about as inept a policy as we've ever seen, for among other adjectives. So yeah, I think the case is probably at least marginally stronger now for reducing our expenditures to the level where we defend our legitimate interests. Look, part of the argument against this reduction is it was reputational for staying in Afghanistan. We can't look like America was driven out. We can't go away with our tail between our legs, all of those metaphors. Well, we just killed Osama bin Laden. And I think that takes a lot of the pressure away, or a lot of the punch away from the argument that it would look like we walked away.